Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today where I'll be looking at Mathematics Paper 1 of Grade 10. This is a November 2015 exam paper. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that at all times you pay full attention to every detail. So what I'm actually going to be doing in today's lesson is just to take you through this question paper. I'm not really going to be solving this question paper, but most importantly, what I'm going to be doing is just to do an interpretation of how do you go about this type of questions. So sometime during the week or sometime as time goes on, we should be able to go through this question paper where we solve the questions. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that at all times you learn something new. So, good people, let's have a look at question number Ian. What are they saying over there? Let's see. So, question 1.1. So, guys, it's very much important that you follow the numbering system used in the question paper, because once you start writing your own numbers there, we are not sure if you are now answering our question. So, as an examiner, I'm giving you questions in a numbering system that I've done. So don't write any other numbers other than those matching my questions. So you can see over there, it says factorize the following expressions fully. You remember, guys, for those of you who attended my previous lessons, you will remember that when we talk about an expression, we talk about a math problem which does not have an equal sign. So let me not go deep into that in today's lesson. In case if you haven't watched that lesson, make sure to catch up on that lesson before before you even get to the lesson where we solve for these problems. Okay, so can you see 1.1.1, you are given x squared minus 18, and this question it's allocated 2 marks. Remember, you are not solving anything over there, but what you do what you do is just to factorize. So there are ways in which you factorize, ladies and gentlemen, which is something that I need to take you through in case if you are a grade 10 learner and you haven't gone through my previous lessons where I started with the first chapter or unit in the grade 10 syllabus or in the grade 10 textbook. Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is 1.1.2. Remember, all that you're doing is to factorize, and in this case, this question is allocated 3 marks. Remember, 1.1.1, 1.1.2 both fall under 1.1, and all that you do is just to factorize. So you need to be careful of these words, guys. This is the word factorize. What are you factorizing? You're factorizing an expression. What is an expression? An expression, it's a maths problem which does not have an equal sign. Very much. Okay, 1.2. What are we doing there? 1.2, they say simplify the following expressions fully. So what are we doing there? We are simplifying. So that means on the first question, what we were doing there, ladies and gentlemen, it was to factorize. But here, we simplify. And what are we simplifying? We are simplifying still expressions. Also there we factorized expressions. But it doesn't necessarily mean that at all times you will always factorizing expressions. You can still factorize or perform a factorization on an equation, which means you will need to understand exactly what is an equation. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there, that you fully understand what we are dealing with over there. Okay, so let's move on. Question 1.2.1. This is where you simplify. So you are given a, what are you given there? You are given a maths problem. Remember, guys, you should also be able to notice what is a maths problem. A maths problem is just, you know, a, let me say, a maths problem is made up of a sign, a number, and a letter. But sometimes you could have a sign and a number. Sometimes you can have a sign and a letter. Sometimes you can just have, let's say, a number. So we know that we are dealing with maths. Therefore, we need to follow mathematical procedure to either solve, simplify, factorize, or whatever an instruction would want us to do. So you can see there you are given a maths problem which is in a form of fraction. But within those fractions, you still have some work to do over there. And this question is allocated 5 marks. So you must be aware of all the maths tactics that you should apply in order for you to be able to simplify this problem. So remember, when you simplify, it's more like you're writing it from this state to its simplest state. So it's more like you rewrite something which is now seem to be complicated and you want to write it in its simplest form. Let's see, 1.1.2, also there you need to simplify that. And for you to correctly simplify that, you need to be aware of the laws of exponents, because you can see you're given an exponential problem over there, and this question is allocated 4 marks. So just make sure, guys, if you missed any of my previous lessons, just make sure that you request the links of those lessons. Otherwise, what you can do in the Telegram group in Classroom A for Maths and Physics, you can just click on the pinned message. Down there, you scroll down, you'll find a link which will direct you to all the previous lessons that you missed. Then you can easily catch up. Okay, it's fine. Let's see. We are now on 1.3. They say consider the following numbers. So they're just saying have a look at these numbers. And then now they're asking which one of these numbers is. So can you see? That means ladies and gentlemen, you might find that after having a look or after having a consideration on these numbers, you might need to tell in terms of from these numbers, ladies and gentlemen, which one is irrational and which one is non-rational. So before you can answer that question, you should know and understand what is an irrational and what is non-real. So I was supposed to actually say non-real and not rational. So it's actually irrational and non-real. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there, that you pay full attention. So 1 mark, 1 mark. So if you correctly answer the question, ladies and gentlemen, can you see how many marks you get in there? So already you've got 16 marks in the pocket. Okay, quickly, let's try to move to question number 2. Remember, guys, in today's lesson, I'm not going to be solving any of the maths problems. I'm just going to be taking you through an interpretation of this question paper, but I'm just going to be doing question 1 and question 2. Then from there on, our next lesson will be solving or answering those questions. From there, we'll continue with this question. So this is what you should be doing when you prepare for an exam. If you're writing in the next 3, 2, or a day, in a day's time, what you do is just to go through the question paper, you discuss it with yourself, you don't write anything, you just say, okay, for question number 2, you can see you've got 2.1. Examiner says solve for X. What does it mean? So it means whatever that you'll be doing, in the end, you must tell us what is the X value. In some instances, you might be having 2 values of X, which is something that I explained. So if you are a grade 10 learner and you haven't attended any of my lesson, and today is your first lesson, just know this is not the starting point. There is a very special lesson that I have done where I've taken through all the grade 10s, 11 and 12. It's more like an introduction to mathematics, and you must watch that lesson from the start up until the end, because it introduces you to what exactly is maths and also how to interpret the maths problems. So just make sure that you never miss that lesson. Even if you do miss the lesson, you can still understand what I'm doing here, but you won't be able to relate. For example, when I say quickly, I'm going to be saying this. 2.1.1. What is this? This is a maths problem. Let me just write number 1 over there with a different color. Number 1. Let me do this and say number 1. This is what I'm talking about. This is a maths problem. Why? Because it is made up of a sign, number, and a letter. Remember, in mathematics, it's only 3 things. Not only limited to 3 things, but it's mostly 3 things. It's a sign. What is a sign? Plus, minus, multiplication, division, square root. It could be brackets or whatever. That is a sign. What is a number? A number is just a number from 0 all the way up to infinity. That is a number, and that includes, let's say, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, for question 2.1.1, I see 15, I see 8, I see 14. And then the signs, I see a positive sign, I see negative there on 8, and again multiplication sign, which is invisible, which is between the coefficient and the variable. What is a variable? A variable is any letter, which could be any letter from A all the way up to Z. What is a coefficient? Is just a number. So there's a format. It's a sign, a coefficient, a variable, and then from there, in some instances, you might be having a power. For example, let me talk a little bit more about that. What is the sign there? The sign is a positive. What is the coefficient? Coefficient is 15. What is the variable? The variable is letter X. What is the power? The power is 2. The second term, the sign is negative. The coefficient is 8. There is no variable. The power is invisible 1. So when you have a number being just 8, there's a power of invisible 1 over there. So on the other side, remember also that equal sign, it's a sign, it's a maths sign. So it should be included when I say, when we talk about the maths signs, we talk about a plus, minus, multiplication, division, equal to, less than, greater than, less than is equals to, greater than is equals to, also the brackets and some more signs that you'll explore as you deal with more and more of maths problems. So can you see? This is a maths problem. I'm done with that. What type of a maths problem is this? Is it an expression or is it an equation? Then it is an equation because I see an equal sign over there. Okay, because number 2, I notice it's an equation. What type of an equation is this? Is it a linear equation or is it a quadratic equation? So it is a quadratic equation because I see the power of 2 over there. That is number 3. Okay, now that I'm able to notice that this is a quadratic equation, how do I deal with quadratic equations? So that means you need to write it in the standard form, and then from there you factorize. So that's the main aim of working a quadratic equation. After factorizing, number 5, you must have 2 values of the unknown being x. So this power of 2, it simply says in the end you must give us 2 values of x being the unknown. Okay, quickly, let's move to 2.1.2. What is this? Obviously, we're still solving here. What are we solving? We are solving for x. What type of a problem is this? It seems to be that of an exponential. Why? Because I see the power is the letter. So that means I need to apply the laws of exponents to solve this problem. Okay, number 2.2, the following inequality is given. So can you see you are now dealing with an inequality. So it's more like, firstly, you dealt with expressions which don't have an equal sign, and now you've dealt with equations. So we are now on inequalities. How do you notice an inequality? It's a maths problem that has this sign. It's either it's less than is equals to, greater than or greater than is equal. These are what we call inequalities. So you need to deal with them accordingly. Massively important. So 2.2.1, solve for x in the inequality. What are we solving there? We are solving for x. Massively. Hey, massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that at all times you pay full attention to detail. So there, ladies and gentlemen, that is the value of x that you need to solve. But it's not only on that side. You also have another x over there, of which you need to deal with it accordingly. And this question will score you, you'll score 3 marks there. Here is 2, there it's 4. So now 2.2.2, they say represent your answer to question 2.2.1 on a number line. So the first thing that you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, you need to know what is a number line, okay? You might be having something similar to that, and then you have a circle over there which is not shaded. So remember, guys, if it's less than, you just have a circle. If it's greater than, you just have a circle. If it's less than or it's equals to, it's a circle, then you shade it inside. You shade it inside. Then based on your final answer, you might find that it's either you have 2 values of x or you have 1 value of x. If you have 2 values of x, then you might also need to have another number over there. Then it's just a matter of you having the lines either in that arrow, in that direction, or you are having them like that. It all depends on your final answer. So that's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. You need to correctly be able to deal with inequalities. So remember, not going to be solving any problem, but make sure that you don't miss my next lesson where I'll be solving these problems. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be one of our interesting lessons. Okay, Mary. What is Mary doing? Mary gave 1/3 of him. But why, Gary? Why would you give Nazim the money and not me? Okay, it's fine. Let's see. Mary gave 1/3 of her money to Nazim, and 1/5. Don't read that as 50 because you are thinking about 50 rand. Okay, this is 1/5 of her money to Elway too. These guys are money. Nazim and Elway too. They must share with us them. Okay, Elway too received 28 rand less than Nazim. I'm thinking these guys are talking about dollars and they're just talking about. Okay, so Elway too received 28 rand less than Nazim. How much money did Mary have originally? Okay, so let's see. It's more like Mary had a certain amount of money and gave 1/3. This is 1/3 of her money to Nazim. Okay, and she gave 1/5 of her money to Elway 2, and we know that Elway 2 received 28 rand less than Nazim, And the question says, how much money did Mary have originally? And you can see this question is allocated a lot of marks, guys. This is going to be an interesting question which will help you to get 14 marks. So guys, just make sure not to miss my next lesson. So whatever that I was doing there, it was just me thinking, not necessarily that this is exactly how you answer that question. But guys, thanks very much for joining. My name is Desmond, and I'm out.